If you just focus on the risk or what potentially could go wrong when it comes to working towards a goal or starting something new, you got to start training yourself to look at the upside or the reward for what you can actually get if you just go all in. Because most of the time, we just get so focused on all the bad things that can happen when in reality, on the other side of all the work that we needed to put in, the reward is far greater than what could potentially go wrong. Welcome to the Daily Effort Podcast. My name is Sam, and if it's your first time listening, welcome. If you've listened before, welcome back. I always appreciate you taking time out of your day to actually listen to the episodes. And the whole purpose of this podcast is all about uncomplicating success. It's really about me giving you the things that will help you reach that level of success that you want in your life. And I have a long ways that I still want to go. There's still a lot of things that I want to accomplish in my life, but as of right now, I want to share the things that have helped me. And as I continue to go and achieve the things that I want, well, then I want to make sure I'm taking the lessons I've learned and giving them to you so you can reach a level of success that you want as well. And it's always going to come down to simple things you need to execute on a daily basis. So that's really the whole purpose and focus of the podcast. And my only ask is if you do get value from an episode, text it over to a friend, share it with a friend, just tell someone about it, share it on social. I would really appreciate that because I do not do ads. So the only way I'm able to grow the podcast is if I'm sharing it on my social media and, really getting some people aware of it there, or you're taking time to actually share it, which I know a few of you really do that very regularly. I know Aaron Gibbs, you're one of them, so I really appreciate you and Corey doing that. It means a lot to me. But as far as when it comes to the episodes, how often I roll them out, because if you're new here, then you probably don't know how often I actually will release the episodes. What I'm doing as of right now is I will release an episode every Monday at 5 a.m. Central Time. It'll be on Spotify, Apple, and then also YouTube. Now, I know Spotify, if you want to be able to watch, there's also the video format that you can watch on there. So there's multiple areas that you can listen to. I know typically when I listen to a podcast, I will listen on Apple, but I know a lot of you listen on Spotify, so I continue just to put it on there. So that's really just the layout of everything and how often I'll be releasing the episodes. Now, diving specifically into the topic I want to talk about today, because it's something that has come up over and over and over again this past week. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's an entrepreneur, and he is really working on building his business within a company. And we were just talking, and he's in a sales role, and we were just going back and forth, and I asked him the simple question of, well, how much time are you spending on the phone? How much time are you actually, what's your activity look like? And he told me his activity, and I told him that, well, why don't you just do more activity? And his response was, well, I don't even know if that would be possible. I don't know if I could do that. And it really got me to thinking, because this person in particular, I know that he has very big goals. Like he wants nice cars, a bigger house. He has a lot of things that he is working towards. And when he said that, it just made me stop and really think for a second that, well, number one, if you've never gone to do something, you can't say, oh, I don't know if I can do it or not. It's like you got to go try. It's like the words I don't know if I can do that should never come out of your mouth if you've never done something. It just honestly does not make any sense whatsoever. You can only say that if you've genuinely gone to try something and you've seen you can't do it. Only then can you actually say, well, I don't think I can do that, or I know I can't do that. And that's just a red flag. Anytime you say, I think I can't do that, well, then obviously you're not thinking. It's like, because you have to know, not think in this case. And the second thing with all of this is, well, he was so focused on, well, the work that was required, or the potential more of the work that was required to get to where he wants to go. And also he was like, well, what if I do this and then it doesn't even happen? Well, when he said that, my response was, well, look, here's the thing. If you don't do that, if you don't do more activity, well then, and if you don't do more calls, well then you know for sure that you won't reach the goal to begin with because you've been doing less already. So the only choice is either do more or get better. It's like, or just do less. And what I've always learned when it comes to reaching a goal is the thing that will always push you in the right direction is more action, massive action to get to where you need to go. And also what I've learned, and this is just for myself, we think that we're working hard, and most of the time we're not working hard. Like, we can always do so much more than we think we can. But also, when it comes to working towards a goal, it's so easy for us just to focus on either the pain or the negative side of things. Like, maybe we don't reach a goal, maybe we fail, or whatever it is. It's so easy for us to get really locked in on that. And I was just thinking about it, and the main reason why, and it's important to understand this, why we will just gravitate towards worst case scenario or just the negative side of things is because our brain is wired to keep us alive. Our body knows survival. So automatically, we're going to be programmed to go back to what is comfortable or something that's going to keep us safe. If there's a risk involved, well, then we're going to start to clip through, well, what's the thing that could go wrong with this? Or what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Then automatically, it makes it harder for us to actually change. And if we don't change, well, then we're definitely not going to be getting closer to where we want to go. We're just going to stay exactly where we are, or we're going to go backwards. And from what I have seen, if you choose to quote unquote maintain, well, then you're going to go backwards because everything in life is always moving forward. So if things in life and in the world are moving forward, if you decide to stand still, you automatically by default go backwards. That's how it works. So you don't really have a choice. You either decide to move forward or go backwards. Those are the two options. But when it comes to focusing on just the risk or what could potentially go wrong, we have to start training ourselves to really play this scenario out and play this scenario out on both sides of things. Play it out on the risk side, but also the reward side. So what I mean by that is, let's say, and I'm going to relate it back to fitness for a second, and then I'll relate it back to the friend that I was talking about that's in the sales position. Well, for fitness, when maybe you've talked to some people, or maybe you have thought it for yourself. If you are in fitness, well, maybe you say, maybe you got some weight to lose, and you're like, well, what if I go to start to do all this work and then it just doesn't work? Like, what if I don't see the result that I actually want? Okay, well, if that's the worst thing that could happen, let's continue to play this out. Okay, let's say you go and do all that work and you stay exactly the same. Let's say you go and work out. Let's say you manage your food, you track your food, you drink water, you get more sleep. Let's say you do all those things and nothing changes. Okay, well then nothing changes. If that's the worst thing that could happen, why not just go? Because you're already in the current position anyways. So if it stays exactly the same, you have nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose. You only have something to gain in that case. Or for the friend that is in the sales career. Well, for him at this point in time, it's like, and he and I talk pretty regularly, but I know that he's been in the sales position for about a year, and well, he's gotten a little better from a skill set standpoint, but not at the rate that he wanted to. And he has a big goal to accomplish by the end of the year. And based on the past experience, well, if he continues just to put in the same level of effort, he's not going to reach his goal by the end of the year. So for him, like, what's the worst case scenario? Well, he works out, or not works out. He takes more calls, and well, he doesn't get better, and he, doesn't grow, he doesn't achieve his goal. And let's go even further, worst case scenario. Well, let's say he doesn't grow and do what he's supposed to do, and he gets fired from his job. And then let's say, okay, well, he gets fired from his job. Well, I know he knows several people that would allow him to stay at their place until he found a job, give him food. Okay, well, then that's not that that's not that bad of a situation, because the worst case scenario is you lose your job, but you still have friends who will put you up in their home, feed you, and until you find a job. Okay, that's not that bad. Like, you just find something completely different that you're going to do. Or let's take this scenario. Well, when I was starting the podcast, I had a lot of things that would go through my head about, well, what if this, what if that? Because honestly, when I started to step into this, my thought process was, well, I really want it to grow. I really want to go do something more with this. But, what if people think I'm weird? What if people really don't think the episodes are valuable? What if no one listens? Okay, well then I was starting to focus on the risk side of things, or the negative side of things, or the downside to things, and not hardly any of the upside, because it's so much easier to focus on the negative things than it is the positive things 9 times out of 10. But when I started to do that, that was my trigger for me when I started to just really think about those negative things, like what if this happens, what if that happens. That was my kick in the butt to just go do the podcast. Because long term, well, I would love to, have thousands, millions of people listening to the podcast. That would be incredible. And I would also like to be on other podcasts. I would love to have guests on this podcast. Because I know there's other people out there that can provide value, that can impact, all of you who are listening right now and the future people who will listen. And I know there's going to be more lessons that I can learn to continue to provide value to all of you, to help you out, and also to the future people who will listen. Why wouldn't I want that upside? It's like, why wouldn't I just go and do something, and then who cares what people think? It doesn't really matter to begin with. So we have to, just going through those 3 examples, 1 with the podcast, 2 the fitness analogy, then 3 my friend who is in sales. Well, you can see how it's easy for me and also you just to simply focus on the downside. What if this? What if that? Okay, if you're asking yourself that question, you automatically have to bump things out and look at the positive side, the upside to things. What's the reward that could happen? Okay, well, let's take it for my friend. Let's look at this. Well, let's say he goes all in, he takes more action, does, let's say, double the amount of calls, which he could do. Double the amount of calls on a weekly basis. Well, what could happen? Well, he brings in more money to the company. He makes more money himself. He achieves his goal. He starts to get the car and the house that he actually wants, and actually achieves his other goals a lot sooner than he thinks. Okay, well, when you look at it that way, just go all in. Just double the activity. Or let's say a fitness journey. Okay, well, let's say that you, instead of focusing on the what if I do all this work and nothing happens, well, what if you do this work and you lose the weight that you want? You're actually able to move better. It's like you start to sleep better. Your relationships improve because you're improving yourself. Your career improves. Everything in your life gets better just because you got in better shape. Okay, well, why wouldn't you want to go? The upside, the reward is far greater than what you could potentially lose. Same thing with my friend. Then same thing with me. The upside of me doing the podcast is far greater than any of the negatives that could potentially happen. What's the worst negative? A friend says, oh, it's really stupid that you're doing that. I really don't think you're bringing a whole lot of value. Okay, that's great feedback. I can get better from that. That's, in my mind, that's potentially the worst thing that could happen. But what's the best thing that could happen? That I continue to go and more people start to listen, more people start to change their lives because of what they hear here. And, I start to have the ability to impact more and more and more people. Why wouldn't I want to do that? It's like, that's a far better upside and far better reward than any negative. The negative's it's not going to stop me. And so much of the time we allow the negatives or the what if this happens to completely stop us in our tracks. And we don't even consider, well, what's the positive alternative? And we're not just going to default to this. It's like we are not going to automatically look at the positives to figure out, well, if I go all in, I continue to do something, well, what will happen on the other side of it? It's just something we really don't do. Why? Because going back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, our brain is hardwired to keep us alive. Our body knows survival. And if our body knows survival, well, then we're going to default to what's comfortable, what's not going to push us. But when it comes to growth, the thing that precedes growth is being uncomfortable. And if you are uncomfortable, well, then what is going to happen is growth. So how can you focus on the positives, the reward of what you can get by doing the work required, and then also how can you just continue to make sure you stay uncomfortable? When you do those two things in life, you can really do a lot. You can accomplish a lot of cool things. You can impact a whole lot of people. And you can go and do things that you probably didn't even think that you could do. And as I'm saying all this, I know there's a couple different types of people that are listening to the episode here. It's like either one, you're not going to do anything with what I just talked about, which that's just how it is. But then secondly, there's someone that's listening right now. Maybe it's you. You're listening and you're seeing that you haven't focused on the reward. Like, what's the potential upside to things? Like, how big can that upside actually get? And you haven't focused on it, and it's causing you to take smaller actions and play not to lose instead of going to play to win. Okay, well then, with the thing you're working towards right now, well, what's the best case scenario that could happen? It's like, and what's the worst case? The best case scenario always trumps, and I shouldn't use an absolute, but I will there, always trumps the worst case scenario. And lastly, it's like there's someone that's listening right now too, the third type of person that, well, you know your goals, you know what you're working towards, and you're continuing to go and work day in and day out, day in and day out. And my encouragement to you is, well, yes, you are in tune with the positive side of things. However, have you truly looked at how big can it be? How big, and when I say it, your goal, like how big can you make the dream? What else can you do? What else could you accomplish with the thing that you're actually working towards? Because most of the time, it can always be bigger. And you can always dream a little bit bigger, and then you can always work more. And it's so easy to fall into the thought process of, man, I have to do all this extra work to get to where I want to go. And there's no such thing as extra work. There's only the work that is required for you to get to where you want to be in life and for you to get to the goals that you want in life. So focus on the reward. Focus on the upside. And for you who are listening, Well, I know I went through the 3 different types of people who are listening right now. Well, which one are you? It's like, are you going to take things seriously and actually go out and execute and, do more with your life? It's like, and so much of the time we'll use the excuse of, well, I got to find my purpose. Look, it's like deep down we know what we need to do to better our life, and we just need to go do it, and the purpose will reveal itself, and we'll figure things out from there. There's no use in planning out anymore because time is not on your side. It's not on my side. The sooner we go, the sooner we can just start moving forward and really accomplishing some cool things in life. So my suggestion as I close today for all of you is, well, yes, you be in tune with what if this happens, what if that happens, the potential downside. You should be, it's not a bad thing necessarily to be in tune with that. But if you're going to look at the downside, you have to look at the upside. And you have to look at the upside to see, well, how big is that upside? Like, how big could it be? How big can you make it? It's like, what's the reward? And you have to just continue to ask questions and extrapolate that out so you can see that full picture. Because if you truly saw the full picture, you would just go. The only reason that some of us at times will be hesitant to go all in and work towards something is because we just don't see the full picture. And we haven't taken time to actually think about it and figure that out or write it out and start to work towards it. So that's what I have for y'all today is, remember, you will automatically look at the downside, but if you look at the downside, you have to look at the upside to figure out what's the potential of what you could actually accomplish if you go all in. So if I can help you out with that, please let me know. Drop a comment below. I'm happy to help you out with anything that you need, or shoot me a message on, Instagram or wherever. You can shoot me an email as well, but I'd be more than happy to help you out. But other than that, have a great day, make it a great week, and God bless.